Hello again. Before we begin this video properly, I'd like to quickly go over a response to the first video. The reason the first video is so messy and badly put together is because of other users making hurtful videos about me, and I was stressed to get it out soon before people lost their hope in me. These users shall remain anonymous, and I am done interacting with all three of them. I will touch on this topic in a later video, but not right now. The Minecraft footage is gone now. I put it in since people watching might have short attention spans, but it really just did a disservice. They are now replaced with chill backgrounds from those hour-long compilation videos. People also said I didn't take account to my actions at all in the first video. If I did, this was unintentional. In hindsight, I should have more taken my time to get it right. With all this being said, let's get into the time I asked Fish Champion where he lived. Back in the day, before I asked Fish where he lived, I was salty towards him, since I believed he stole my gimmick of being everywhere. I am aware, there were other everywhere people before me, like Hapwa, Heisenbergfen, and of course, Justin Y. But I was the first everywhere person rooted in the MSM community, and it seemed like too much of a coincidence that he showed up around the time I was becoming popular for my gimmick, unique to this specific fandom. In recent times, I've been told Fish didn't mean to steal it, and came up with the idea himself, which I believe now, since believing the former is just petty to himself, and I certainly don't hold this against him anymore. I bring this point up first, as wanting to be friends with Fish Champion was my idea, to let go of my biases. If we became mates, why make an enemy when you could make a friend? Also at the time, I just moved education units, and left all my old friends I barely even knew behind, so I was basically friendless. I don't want to go too much into this though, since this is my private life, but just know I've had very few people I'd consider solid friends throughout my life, and most of them I've lost over the years. They haven't died, I just don't see them anymore anyway. When I asked where he lived in England, I meant as in maybe a town area where he lived, not his actual address. My idea at the time was that if we lived in nearby towns, we could meet at a shopping centre with our parents there, since there would be obvious stranger danger. And over time, we keep hanging out, until we reach a point where we trust each other to pop over to each other's houses to chill, maybe play some video games or watch a movie. And if it worked with him, I could try with other users. Obviously, this was a horrendous strategy, coupled with the fact I don't think I knew his age before this. You don't exactly go around asking people's ages without getting suspicious looks. Also, Fish was the only one I asked before getting called out. I did want to ask Webtopia and Bumbleboy, but I didn't get around to it, since Fish made me realize just how much of a stupid and brain-dead idea it was. One thing to my credit, I want to bring up. When Fish declined, I agreed, and planned to not ask again. I do think I am just socially awkward, and not good at interacting with people, often, but I won't use this as an excuse. I also want to mention for a little time after, I leached off of Fish's comments. This wasn't meant to be creepy and such, since people took it that way. I did it simply because my comments weren't getting as liked as much, and I knew his were. I am sorry for this too, that was just petty and pathetic of me. I stopped doing this maybe a month or so after starting, since he did tell me to leave him alone, and I did. After a while, I made a philosophy that I would only reply to his comment chains if I have something to say, and not just because his will get a lot of likes. And I am sorry if this came off as creepy, when it was really just petty. So sorry for being the way I was. The worst thing Fish ever did to me was tell people what my username really meant. But even then, this doesn't wet a patch on how much stress and tribulation I must have put him through. I feel awful for the way I've treated him. I completely understand why he'd do something like this. Even though it was completely uncalled for in my eyes, the understanding is there. Fish didn't deserve the grief I gave him. I just wanted to be another one of his friends, and should have thought of a different and more ethical way to do this. I definitely shouldn't have been painting him as the one I'm the wrong in my head, and I hope he at least understands that I really am trying my very best to make up to him. One more thing I want to explain is another reason why I wanted to get to know him. Recently before the drama, someone had said more people know me, But more people are friends with Fish. I really just wanted to be another of Fish's friends. I felt left out, a point which we'll get back to later on. It's honestly amazing I gained so many enemies from just wanting to make a single friend. I think the best thing we can both do as individual users is agree for the immediate future to stop interacting each other and leave each other alone. I've had the mindset for a while that it would be a good idea if we simply talked things out calmly and maturely, be this through a voice chat or just commenting back and forth. We could definitely come to level ground. But I feel like if one just did leave the other be, peace would be restored. And then, maybe one day our wounds will heal, and maybe, just maybe, we could become real friends.